Hi, well, we're back with another one of our wonderful Zesty practitioners, Lucy Still, and another good angle on this because how many of us are sugar addicts? I think we kind of all are at heart. So, Lucy, let us know what you do and
Yeah.
what you're offering.
So I'm the bit that sort of fills it in. I come in when, we know what to eat and we've tried all the fantastic ways of eating, keto and, carnivore, which I am now. But there's still this thing knocking on the door or in our brain that craves that sugar. And you read about people that they're not eating sugar and it's great, and the meat definitely satiates and the appetite in a way that carbs don't. But what happens when there's that insistent part of the brain that is just pushing you to eat that sugar? And that's where I my work kind of centers around that. So I look at this sort of biopsychosocial model. So we've got the food and what sugar and high carbs do to, our cells and our hormones and the way that we react in, our insulin, etc., to those foods. But then I like to bring in also the psychological aspect. Why is it? What is it about the sugar that is alerting our dopamine to kind of drive us to there? And, we know kind of historically, biologically why that is. But there's also some other aspects of why someone doesn't go for the sugar compared to somebody else. And so there can be some trauma back there, can be reasons why and psychological reasons why somebody is choosing to go for that food. There's also diet trauma as well. There's different loops that we get into, and there's dissatisfaction, can be shame. So there's a lot of layers of the psychological aspect that aren't really dealt with. And then the social part of that will be things like FOMO, where we want to join in, and food is so much about love and community, and we can feel isolated from that and feel maybe even deprived, whereas really want to change our language and change the way that our brain works so we feel the freedom of that. Because that is a massive pressure socially. There's a massive pressure that for our that kind of gremlin or the monster, the sugar monster, eating monster inside that just gets our hand up to our mouth. It doesn't matter even if we're satiated and just had a meal. Why is that still happening? So the work I do uses interventions that go into those parts of us. It helps change. We know that neurologically we have this plasticity that we can, when we might have beliefs and ways of behaving, well, once you've worked with me, then that will change. The whole mindset changes, the whole approach or the whole drive, if you like, to go in and have those sugars. It just goes. So people will say to me, I've worked with you, and now, God, it's really weird because it's Easter, and I usually like filled my basket up with these bargain Easter chocolate eggs, and I just don't even care about it. It's just completely gone. And that's always been the magic because there's a huge amount of resistance. The body, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that. Oh my God, I'm suddenly eating it. We want to take away that neural connection that is getting the brain to do that. Um, yeah, so I work with, one-to-one where I can customize somebody's experience and what they really want. I'm going to be working with another practitioner. We're going to be bringing a course together, and that's going to be coming out in the next month or so. So yeah, that's kind of my approach, really. I'm very resistant myself, and it's come from my own heart and my own drive to kind of like, no, that's not right. Why is that still happening? Why is that still happening? And just building up all these different ways of approaching that annoying sugar habit. So I'm a therapist by trade, and then I brought in the coaching model of primal coaching and a bit of the Noakes Foundation. I've done some studying with them as well. So all to come to help people get through this. Yeah, where that gets really annoying and they can't do it on their own. Yeah.
No, that sounds perfect. That's great. Because so many of us are sugar addicts, and this whole business. I think mine came from my mum always sort of giving me chocolate as love, and you do that. So that was a difficult one for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, to have that together in one package, I think that's so useful. So if you're watching this and you're a sugar addict, book a session with Lucy.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for
Lucy,
you. So give us a
thank you.
shout. All right. Nice to speak to you.
You too.
Take care, everyone. Bye.